Sorry. Madison was watching our videos and she was telling me I need to clean the table. And I was saying to the real discount bourbon review fans, the dirty table is what makes it, right? It's not the bald eagle picture slightly out of frame. It's not the cocktail mixed drink thing that we got going on. It's not even the lamp with the bad lighting. It's the dirty table. Discount bourbon reviews!
Today we're going to be going for the Heaven Hills Bottled and Bond. We were kind of hit by a surprise today. One of our local liquor stores put up on their Facebook stories, whatever it's called, equivalent, whatever, that they got the Heaven Hill in, and they were excited about it. They were just advertising it. I was at work, sadly, working my day job, but Josh Man here was free and available, and he went running for it. Josh, how much did you spend on it?
Oh, I'm about running for it. I certainly made it there a little bit after noon. They posted that pretty early on in the day.
That's fair.
But I paid $47 for it. Why I was so excited about it is because we had to pass it up when we were on the Ohio trip, hunting down that antique 107. If you got to go check those videos.
Sitting down back over here for whatever reason.
But
it could be up here.
The store only had a limit 1 on allocated bottles, not just limit 1 of that type of allocated bottle.
Yeah.
So,
which is a little different.
It is a little different.
Out here in Oklahoma, you can, at a lot of our stores, we can get away with just getting 1 bottle of this guy.
Get a bottle
and
of
then
that
if
guy,
they also had the 107, we could get
guy.
a bottle of the 107. So we were a little confused, a little taken back, but
as
we did have to pass up on the Heaven Hill because of it.
Yeah, we did have to pass up then, so we were a little remiss.
Yep.
But now that the opportunities come by, we're so excited to share it with you. We had a couple people here in the OK Bourbon Drinkers community reach out to us, tell us how excited they are about this Heaven Hill Distillery and how excited they are about this Heaven Hill Distillery review.
Yep.
So I think, without further ado, I'll go ahead and start pouring them up.
Let me know how.
But we've had some run-in with the Heaven Hill Distillery before in the past, Dylan.
On our channel specifically?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. We've gone over the Quality House sitting back up here on the top shelf, even though I wouldn't really consider him a top shelf whiskey.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't. I'd put him more down here. I wouldn't put him down here where we have not whiskeys, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're not even on camera.
I think we can put the Bardstown up here instead of the Quality House, but that's just me. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't a very big fan of him. He wasn't outright awful or offensive, but I wasn't a very big fan of him. But I am excited about this guy. I got to try a little nip of him, but I haven't been able to get a full nose experience. So
the grain on his nose is really good. So far, I'm getting a lot of those kind of darker notes that I associate with rye and barleys.
Yeah.
A lot.
He's very
far from the weeded sides.
I would say he's very smoky, not oaky.
Yes. That's something we like to say here, and you're right. I'd say he's smoky, not oaky.
Ooh.
When I do the French inhale, I get a little bit more of those honeys. I get a little bit more of those caramels. But still, that grain and that spice is dominant.
The grain and spice is very dominant, but if you're really looking for those sweeter notes, those honeys, those caramels, you can find them.
They're at the back of the nose, for sure.
I agree, though. You really do have to hit it with that, I believe you just called it the French inhale. And it...
Keep your mouth open a little bit while you're sniffing.
Yep. And it's... He hides from you.
He's
not very sweet on the smell. He's just not. I don't have a problem with it, but he's just not.
On my sip, I'm getting a lot of reversals. I'm getting, instead of those kind of spices, maybe even almost bordering on tannins a little bit, I'm getting a lot of sweetness.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of woodiness.
I mean, I am getting a lot. No, it really...
Yeah, oakiness.
Oaky, not smoky on the palate, but very smoky.
But reversing the smell, yeah.
No, it really is. That's very surprising. You get a lot of red fruit, a little cherry, you know what I mean?
I'd say brighter. Yeah, I'd say a brighter fruit than a darker fruit. But not particularly floral by any means. Maybe that's the sugar. Maybe it's not a caramel. Maybe it almost smells like a little maraschino cherry to me.
No, that's very interesting. How they almost polar opposite between nose and palate.
Maybe Bordeaux cherry. Maybe those darker.
A little bit more rich.
Mm. Hey, I'm trying to be.
Aren't we all? Ooh. He opens up with a lot of smoke in the little later bits of that nose. A lot of smoke in that nose.
No, because he is under $50. He is not a fancy pants whiskey, so we're going to go ahead and tell you how he mixes. I really get a lot of licorice on that nose now that he's opened up. We always compare against Sprite. If you watch our videos, that's our constant. We compare against Sprite for you. If it's good enough for Elmer Teely, it's good enough for me.
It's the way it goes. It's, I wasn't getting it on the palate very much at all, but I'm getting a lot of that licorice, that anise almost in the Sprite.
Yeah.
It's very...
It's off-putting for you.
It really is. I'm not a very big fan of that when it's mixed. I really liked it a lot more neat. I don't know.
I think it's unique.
Unique's a good word to use. You can use that word definitely. I don't disagree with that, but
sounds like you'd say it with more emphasis than me, but
but it's for me. I can just go ahead and go outright and say it. The Heaven Hill bottled and bond. That's a straight neat sipper for me. I don't think I'm not interested in putting him in my sweet tea at home in any way, shape, or form. The constant here is Sprite. The constant for me at home is sweet tea.
Now I'll raise you one argument.
Okay.
How do you feel about the idea of it in a whiskey cocktail, like a Manhattan, an old fashioned?
I think like in an old fashioned. I've never had honestly. I think I've had one Manhattan and I never liked it. Maybe it was just a bad Manhattan.
We're gonna have to do a cocktail channel. We're gonna do a cocktail.
We're gonna have to start to. I know you've got the tools somewhere around here, but I would try it in a cocktail. I don't think I'm confident enough to say that it would be good in like a classic whiskey cocktail, but I would try it.
I think he's got a pretty complex nose. I think all in all, I'm going to give him an above average nose. I'm going to give him an 8.
Oh, I would.
I really like that nose.
Yeah.
It's just, he's missing that X factor for me that actually comes by watering it down just a little bit, which is kind of surprising. When I mixed it with the Sprite, I started getting that X factor, started getting that next level. So I think maybe I'll go ahead and give him a 9. Because he's got it, he's just not playing his cards. Pretty good nose.
I can agree with the thought of he's got it, just not playing his cards. But for me, he's definitely above average. He's missing the X factor for me is wanting to pull me back and keep coming back for more. Mm-hmm. And he has a good nose. He does.
That je ne sais quoi, that little extra that just you're like, what?
I'm not coming back for him.
It.
And so I'm probably going to stick him around that 7 range for nose. Because he is good. He's definitely above average. Big fan of that. But I don't... 8 might be pushing it for me. 9's definitely pushing it for me.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Agree to disagree?
Agree to disagree.
I think it's a pretty good one.
How do you feel about the palate, though?
I liked it both ways, to be honest. As just a whiskey, standalone, by itself, separate of price, I think it was a pretty good whiskey. I'm going to give him an 8. I think he was above average, something you're going to enjoy. Maybe not anything you're going to write home about. Not like, oh man, this bottle was just so unique compared to anything else. But this is also one of our first entrants into the Heaven Hill line. We've tried some Larceny. We've tried some Heaven Hill Quality House.
We just learned yesterday that Larceny is a part of the same distillery. So that's interesting. So we were wrong when we said earlier that we just tried the Quality House. Because we tried the Larcenys. We tried the original. We have the basic launch of them. And then we've got the foolproof up here, don't we?
Yep.
And so we've tried a good amount of the Heaven Hill distillery, realistically. I think what we're missing is the Elijah Craig. Yes,
we have not dove too much into the Elijah Craig. Gosh, and what else are we missing from Heaven Hill proper? You know what I mean? I'm sure if they got a bottle and bond, they got a Heaven Hill proper.
I'm sure they do.
So there's a couple things. Let us know out there if there's anything we're missing specifically from the Heaven Hill lineup.
Please let me know if we're missing something. Yeah. My big thing is just trying. I want to know. And so if there's something I'm missing, please let us know.
There's something you're excited about.
Yeah. But palate-wise for me, he is definitely above average. I don't want to take any points away because I didn't like him mixed. Because we haven't done that with any other drinks, so I don't want to do that to him. I will say that mixed, he did offend me. He is a neat drinker for me.
I mean, I think that's something to take into consideration, though. Although, if you're going to give him a straight designation, you're just going to go ahead and say, don't mix him up anyway.
I would say that. I would say don't mix him up anyway. For me, he's a nice, maybe not a start of the night kind of drink. I mean, if you really like it, I don't see why it couldn't be. But I'm just sipping on him. I don't see myself mixing them with anything realistically. I would try him in that classic whiskey cocktail that we were talking about, but flavor-wise, he's just probably going to be around that 7 for me. Kind of like the nose. He is above average, but nothing crazy special. Nothing I'm going to write home to mom about, like you kind of said. That price, for me, 47's pushing it just a little bit for me.
It's getting out of budget bourbon territory. You're gonna have to be having a good week.
Definitely not fancy pants territory, but he's definitely pushing it, especially compared to some of the other. I mean, Weller Green. You can go get a bottle of him. He's not 100 proof, but you can go get a bottle of Weller Green for $25 around here, and that's a much superior bottle in my opinion.
I mean, you think about it. What do we got? We got 25 ounces in a bottle. $50. You're paying $2 an ounce here. If you're making up a proper bar drink, maybe 2 ounces, maybe 3 ounces. Who am I to say? I mean, you're starting to look at like $6 there. You're starting to look at a bar drink out. I mean, and at that point, there's some other things you're taking into consideration. So that's why we kind of like to stay under that $50 price point. It's because when you start approaching that $6, $7 a drink territory, you're probably just going to revert back to Jack and Coke out at the club because of some of the other benefits that come from it. Banjo the Wonder Chord. You got to see him in the live stream a second ago if you guys were watching that live stream.
Yep.
Banjo the Bourbon Dog.
The Bourbon Dog, who doesn't like bourbon.
He does not like bourbon. Banjo the Bourbon Dog.
I don't think he's ever had bourbon.
Yeah.
No. But we're going to assume he doesn't like bourbon because he's a dog.
Spicy.
It's spicy.
It's spicy.
But overall, Heaven Hill, bottled and bond, he's going to go at a 6 for me. Just with price.
Just above average?
Just the price and consideration, just above average. I think he's good. I think you should try him if you're interested in trying whiskeys.
Keep on your bar. Keep one stocked. If you see it empty, you're starting to run out, you're going back out to find a new one. You stop in your hunt to go get another bottle of this.
No.
I think I would. I think if I were getting low or getting down to my last 10th and it was that or picking a new bottle to review for you guys, I might have to refresh. Not like we're drinking them all that often, but
I want to pick up a new bottle to review for you guys. That sounds a lot more enjoyable than picking up that guy for me. That's me. We can just.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm having a revelation right now. I should be doing this for you guys. I should be trying all the bourbons we can in the world.
Yeah.
Just for you guys. Let you know.
He's not bad. If he belongs on your bar, he belongs on your bar. Mm-hmm. I don't think he. How do I say that properly? I wouldn't be upset with him being on my bar, but I'm not going to go out and look for him to be on my bar.
Same way. If we hunted him down just to give him a review, and now he's got some space on the bar, you'd love him, but you're not. Yeah. You're not hunting.
I want a few people to try that, but there's also a few people that they're probably going to quicker get the preferred. You know what I mean?
Well, our fan, Mr. Dibbler from the Facebook group, he is not going to be as big of a fan of what you said about that review. He said that he wants to have multiple at all times.
Hey, that's okay. We can disagree on these things. That's the beautiful thing about bourbon and flavor tastings just in general, just even outside of bourbon. We all taste things differently. I mean, you and I have disagreed on flavor notes on bottles that we're trying right here. We're tasting separate.
But that's some of it. You got to find an advisor. You got to find someone, a reviewer that you trust.
I mean, that's true.
You like their palate. You find that you agree with their palate. You watch a couple of our videos on bottles that you had. You say, hey, I think that Dylan's got a palate like mine. I think Josh has got a palate like mine. Let's see what they got to say about this new bottle before I buy it.
That's really what it's about, yeah.
Not to get meta about the content, but drink responsibly.
Please drink responsibly. I don't think you gave it an overall.
Oh, yeah.
What's your overall?
Overall, before we sign out, 8. It's above average. It's pretty good. It's something that I'd start letting people know about, especially if they've made any mention about the Heaven Hill distilleries before, liking those products. I'd go ahead and mention it to them. 8.
I agree with that. If someone comes across and they've specifically mentioned they like Heaven Hill products, if you haven't tried the bottle bond, please try it. That's very good.
Fantastic.
I agree with that completely. Drink responsibly.